friends. So my friend Liz wrote on the internet this week that the thing to do after an election is the same as the thing to do before an election. Pick a thing that you want to change and go out and change it. Before the election, my brother picked moving to Iowa to become a field organizer, which means getting out and registering a bunch of people to vote and then going back and reminding them to vote over and over until they actually do it. I think it's one of the most thankless and difficult and important jobs in the world. And I picked going down to Iowa with some friends for the last weekend before the election to help him. Because this election cycle, my work in politics has been tangential. It's the kind that leaves you time to do your laundry and have weekends and finish your workday before bedtime. But I remember what it was like in 2016 working a hell of a lot harder than that. And I remember what it was like calling friends and telling them that no matter what 538.com said, the threat of a Donald Trump presidency was real, and I needed them to go out and knock doors and make phone calls or do just a little bit more to try to stop it. Most of them just politely ignored me or told me that they were gonna vote, but they didn't really have much more time than that. And I resented them when a few months later they posted their selfies from the Women's March, wishing that they'd have shown up earlier so it didn't have to get that bad. But this time I felt like I was the one not doing enough. So I signed up for some phone banks and then some text banks. And then I went to Maine one Saturday to canvass. And then I went on this very weird family vacation to Iowa. My friends / sisters-in-law, my pals who I am related to by way of our siblings being married, and I have in common this fiery preoccupation with justice that we try to mask as chill and normal with sarcastic wit. So I said that I would tweet out a plane-based saga of the two of them sitting in front of me while they tried to text as many voters as possible before the plane took off. And then we landed in Des Moines and fell easily back into our Midwestern accents and not so easily back into the concept of driving a car. I knocked on about 200 doors before the election to talk to people about their plan to vote, which is not a whole lot. That's less than an average organizer covers every weekend. Out of every 10 doors I knocked, maybe only one person was home. And when they did answer, they'd usually say something like, "I've already voted," or "I'm already gonna vote on Tuesday and I know where my polling place is, and could you please stop sending people to my house?" It was one out of every 100 doors maybe that someone actually seemed like they were more likely to vote because I'd shown up on their doorstep. But I knocked my packets anyway, and I took some clipboard selfies to virtue signal on the internet, and I felt like I'd done my part to help with the election, but I still don't know if I had. Like, I don't mean this to sound like a useless exercise. I think everybody should do it. I want to do it even more next time around. But Cindy Axne, who was one of the two first women elected to Congress from Iowa whose district we were knocking in, she won her race by 5,000 votes, which is not a lot. But even that, by my made up anecdote math, still takes 1,000 people over 10 weekends to turn out that many people. And I had only shown up for 2. Building a community of people who care enough about your cause, or more likely each other, to do something that might be inconvenient, probably is gonna happen in the rain, and that groups of people are actively trying to make it impossible for them to do, is worth it. But it's slow and it's inefficient, and there's no way around it other than to talk to people one by one by one by one and tell them why you care. We all have different levels that our bodies or our budgets or our work schedules will allow us to give. But some people, like my brother, or the domestic workers down in Georgia, or my friends who jumped from one campaign to another without even a little bit of rest, gave more. And I'm so proud of them and so grateful for that. While some of the races that we paid a lot of attention or recurring digital donations to didn't shake out the way that we'd hoped, there's a lot to be hopeful for now too. Now our House of Representatives is gonna look a lot more representative, with more people of color and LGBTQ people and immigrants and refugees and young people and over 100 women, which is still only a quarter of the House, but it's fine. Before becoming a field organizer, my brother was a high school history teacher, and he taught a class about civics where his students learned about how the American government worked. And the first night we got to Iowa, he met us for dinner at a thematically suspect Chinese food-themed pizza restaurant at 10 p.m. after he'd finished entering his data for the night. And my sister-in-law asked him if his experience as organizing would change the way that he talked to his students about elections. My brother paused, I think trying not to sound like a huge bummer, but he said that, you know how everyone on campaigns and social do-gooderist spaces in general say that every little bit makes a difference? He, and maybe I, don't know if we could still say that and feel like it's true. It takes a lot more than a little bit, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. It means that you actually have to try really, really hard to make a difference. And that's exactly why you should. Now we are mostly after an election. So it's time to do the same things as we did before. Tell me in comments about the thing that you would most like to change. If you like this video, please share it with someone who you think might like it, or someone who you think might help you make that change. And I will see you soon. Bye.